Frank German came to the Pittsburgh State University campus in the fall of 1924 as a professor of mathematics. A quiet and caring man, German formed lasting friendships with countless students. At a time when legendary coach and athletic director Garfield Weed needed volunteers to assist with the daily chores of running a college athletic department, German soon became a trusted ally. Behind the scenes, he gave freely of his time and talent for more than 3 decades.
When you look at Frank German, the first thing that jumps out, obviously, is a man who devoted his entire adult life to Pittsburgh State University as an outstanding mathematics professor whose tenure spanned 4 decades at the college from the mid-1920s to the early 1960s. But then the second thing that jumps out is along those same times, a man who is extremely devoted to Pittsburgh State athletics for the same amount of time.
He wasn't really known for his activities in the athletic world as much as he was in helping other people achieve the things that they wanted to do, not only in college but in other parts of the world that people are involved with. And so, you know, you're always looking for people who want to make a difference in their life, and Dr. German was one of those people.
German joined the athletic council for Doc Weed in 1935. He served as a volunteer timekeeper and scorekeeper for Pitt State basketball, football, and track and field contests. He also helped tutor guerrilla student athletes. Paul Hutsey can personally attest to the impact German made on him, as well as countless other student athletes.
I met Dr. German first in 1945. I was more familiar with his son than I was with himself. Don German was a great PSU athlete, and I met Dr. German when I became a freshman. I enrolled in college algebra to a different professor. My first college algebra course, I got an F. I failed my first college course. The professor that I had would write the formulas on the board and said, "You learn it yourself." So I got an F. The second semester, why I took the course again, and this time the instructor was Dr. German. Significantly different in his relationship with the student, and so I went from an F to an A. And I relate that primarily to the nature in which Dr. German conducted himself. He was kind, he was thoughtful, he was helpful, he was patient. He understood my circumstances. And that situation, going from a failed course from an F to an A, is something that I was able to use in all parts of my life for years and years to come, to tell other people that you can change the results in your life by the help that you get from other people. And so I just wonder how many people Dr. German impacted their lives and made a difference in their lives by his nature and his encouragement and his style of coaching.
Modern athletic departments utilize full-time employees for roles in academics and compliance, statistics keeping and public relations, and a host of other areas. German was a faculty athletics representative before the genesis of the term, and he was much more than just that. Then athletic director Carney Smith said the following of German and other athletic council members at a recognition ceremony in 1970. In the early years of the college, they served in various capacities, some for periods of over 30 years. They were active in all sports behind the scenes, and they contributed of time and money to develop athletes as part of a total education.
He was always one who made a contribution and was looking for ways that he could help other people. There's a great quote that says, you know, the thought that one person can do something great is a myth. And he's one of those examples of that individual that created a relationship with other people that lasted for years and years. When you talk about that Frank German field, a number of people that have been impacted by his kindness, his thoughtfulness, his generosity of his time, talent, and treasures that he had for years and years.
While German gave of himself to the Pitt State campus, he was also active in the Pittsburgh community, especially with regard to youth sports. He helped organize the Pittsburgh Little League and years later the city renamed the division the Frank German League in his honor, a fitting tribute for a man and a family so greatly woven into the fabric of not only PSU, but also the city of Pittsburgh.
The great thing about the legacy category of the Pitt State Athletics Hall of Fame is it has given us an opportunity to honor folks who time slipped away from and are able to bring back the names of some really pioneers of this university. And there's no question that both academically and his involvement in Pitt State athletics, Frank German was a true pioneer at Pittsburgh State University.
German was quite content to stand in the shadows and watch others shine. Today, Pittsburgh State University returns the favor to German. We know that his quiet and caring soul is shining down on all of us today.
So after all these years of significant contributions to PSU and the students and the athletes, it's a great honor to have the prestige of Dr. German to join the Hall of Fame for PSU. Very deserving and delighted to be a part of that.
It's my distinct pleasure to welcome the newest member of the Pitt State Athletics Hall of Fame, Frank German.
Please join us in welcoming Frank's stepdaughter, Petie Carrol, who will accept on behalf of the family.
I'm not used to these things, so you'll have to let me know. Frank German came into my life when I was 10 years old and had a definite impact on my life. I think he was probably one of the main reasons that I went into physical education and was a physical education teacher. I just don't know hardly where to start. He was interested in all sports, baseball among them, and you've already seen some of the video here, but I can remember him sitting in the living room before the days of television with his homemade scorecard, listening to the Cardinals or the Browns, keeping score. He made his own scorecard. We went to nearly all of we had a farm team here in Pittsburgh, and we would go to all of those games, and he would keep score. He taught me to keep score. And then we even followed the team out of town. And of course, basketball, you heard that on the video about that. I have a little story to tell, though. He was keeping the clock, and it was a tightly contested game, and the score kept going back and forth, and the buzzer went off, but the crowd was so loud nobody heard the buzzer, so he had to jump out on the floor and stop the game. And well, when he got the games, he informed John Lance that when the game was over, Pittsburgh was not winning. And there was a little bit of a confrontation on the floor between the two of them. And all I remember is the next day there was a knock at the front door, and John Lance had come to the house to apologize to Frank. But Frank could be a little hot-headed too, and so could his son Don. And they used to referee ball games in the area. And some of the little towns they went to could be a little hot-headed. And my mother refused to go with them. But, it was a great time, and I really enjoyed it. I'm going to tell a little story about his son Don. I don't know how many of you know this, and it gives another side of Frank. Don was in high school and was in a horrendous car accident between Fort Scott and Pittsburgh. And we still had all the hills. And anyway, when the accident happened, the driver was okay. The boy sitting in the middle was killed, and Don was sitting on the door, and he was thrown from the car, and he lay there on the ground, and everybody wanted to come and put a pillow under his head. But one individual stood guard over Don and would not let them put a pillow under his head, which was a good thing because he had broken his neck. And the doctors had said, well, he'll never walk again, and if he does, he'll never play football. Well, I think Frank sat at the foot of his bed watching until finally he saw Don move his toes. And then when Don came home to recuperate, he was doing therapy evidently by walking around the dining room table. And one day he fell to the floor and asked his dad to help him up. Frank, no, you get up yourself. And so Tom had this, he got up himself and he not only walked again, but he did become a pretty fair football player. And let's see, there's so much, like the Little League that he did, and he did all kinds, he and my mom, they did all the sports. We went to all the baseball games, we followed them out of town, and it was just, I can truly say it came from a sports-oriented family. He was competitive in that he liked to play bridge. And I think he started kind of the duplicate bridge club in Pittsburgh, Kansas years ago, and he was the director. And so he was involved in all kinds of things. So I have many nice memories, and I had a very extended family and was very blessed to know him. I took a class from him too, and the saying on campus was that he could teach us stick math. And I think he probably taught several sticks. When I was here in school, kids would find out my relationship to him, and they'd say, oh, have your dad pull my card, because they all wanted to be with Frank German. And so I sometimes could do that too. So anyway, it was a great experience, and I'm very proud to be here, and I know he would be proud and honored to accept this award. Thank you.